this video, we will discuss about electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction. So this phenomenon was first observed by Michael Faraday. So when he observed this phenomenon, later on Henry also did experiment on that. So when he observed this phenomenon and when he went for a public meeting and he told that he discovered this like that, he was telling that time some of the press people asked what is the use of this. At that time he told that it is similar to ask that what is the use of a newborn baby. So nowadays you can see that later on, by the end of this session you will come to know that this electromagnetic induction is the basic phenomena, that when we are getting electricity by the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction, because generators are working under electromagnetic induction, and during power transmission we are using step up and step down transformers. There also we are using electromagnetic induction. So here, in the absence of or without this phenomenon of electromagnetic induction, we cannot live a life like this. Okay, is it clear? So we will discuss what is meant by electromagnetic induction. Before discussing that, we will discuss about Faraday's experiments. Okay, Faraday's experiments. So the first experiment is related with coil magnet experiment. Okay, coil magnet experiment. So from that phrase itself it is clear that coil is there, magnet is there. By using that he performed an experiment. So we will discuss what is the experimental setup and what he noticed and what is the cause, that later on we will discuss. Okay, so here a coil is connected to a galvanometer. Coil is connected to a galvanometer. Now a magnet is taken. So what he performed is that, and what is the function of this galvanometer? Galvanometer is used to detect the presence of current. So galvanometer shows a deflection. If there is current is flowing in the coil, if there is current flow in the circuit, galvanometer will show a deflection. Okay. So for galvanometer, 0 will be at the center. Here up to 30 divisions will be there, and here also up to 30 divisions. Okay. So not volt, 30 divisions only. Okay. Not volt. Up to 30 divisions will be there. So whenever current is flowing, galvanometer will deflect either towards right or left depending on the direction of current flow, and it will come back to its original position only. Okay. It will not stand in that particular position. So that is the use of galvanometer. So galvanometer, we can say that it is used to detect the presence of current. We cannot measure the current. Current can be measured by using a meter. That already we discussed in the previous chapter. No? So here what he did is that he allowed this magnet, initially both were stationary, then he allowed this magnet move towards this coil. Okay. So when it was moved towards, when it was moved towards the coil, the galvanometer showed a momentary deflection. Momentary deflection means deflection for a moment. Okay. So it showed a momentary deflection and came back to original position. Okay. When it was taken back, again the galvanometer was showing deflection, but now what happens? Now the deflection is opposite to the previous case. Is it clear? So in first case, if for example, if it were deflecting towards if it is deflecting in anti-clockwise direction, or if it is towards left, in second case it will be right, and vice versa. Okay, is it clear? So when it was moved, when the magnet was moved into the coil, galvanometer was showing deflection. When it was taken back from the coil, again galvanometer was showing deflection. But when it was kept stationary inside the coil, even though it was very closer to the coil, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. Okay, so this was his experimental observation. Now what he did is that he allowed this magnet to move faster. So when it was moved faster, there was more deflection in the galvanometer, which indicates that more amount of current is flowing. Okay, is it clear? So this was the first part. And in second part, what he did is that instead of moving this magnet, he kept the magnet stationary. Here, coil stationary. Coil kept stationary. Now in second case, what he did, that magnet stationary. Magnet is stationary, but the coil is moved. Okay, so when the coil is moved towards the magnet, there is a deflection in the galvanometer. Again, when it is withdrawn back or when it is moved backwards, there is a deflection in the galvanometer in opposite direction. But when both were stationary, there is no deflection at all. Okay. Now, instead of this, when it was allowed to move faster, when the coil was moved very quickly, there is more deflection in the galvanometer, which shows that more amount of current is produced. Okay, is it clear? So this was the second part. And in third case, what he did is that instead of this magnet, that is known as coil experiment, one coil is taken. It is connected to cell through a key. Okay. And another coil is connected to galvanometer. Okay. So here, when the coil is taken, is closed. Okay. Key is closed. Again, when it is moved towards, there is a deflection in the galvanometer. When it is moved backward, there is a deflection in the galvanometer in opposite direction. When both the coils are stationary, there is no deflection. Okay. Similarly, instead of this coil to move, we can make this coil also to move. Second coil, this we can say it as first coil, and this is second coil. So instead of first coil to move, he did by moving second coil, so he could notice the same phenomenon. So from these two experimental observation, what he concluded is that a relative motion between coil and magnet, or a relative motion between two coils, among them one coil should be a current carrying coil. Okay, so then a current is produced in the coil, neighboring coil. Okay, is it clear? So that was the experimental observation from these two. So here in these two experiments, he noticed that there is a relative motion between coil and magnet, or coil and coil is required. But when he performed another experiment with coil with some number of turns, it is connected to cell through a key. And here another coil is there, which is connected to galvanometer. So this coil, first coil through which current is flowing, that we will say it as primary coil, and the second coil in which current produced is, we will call it as secondary coil. Okay. So here what he noticed is that whenever this key is closed, galvanometer shows a deflection. And when this key is closed for longer time, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. Again, when this key is kept open, there is a deflection in the galvanometer in opposite direction. Okay, is it clear? So here what he concluded, there is no relative motion. Primary coil or secondary coil, both are not moving. Even though they are not moving, as soon as the key is switched off or switched on, there is a deflection in the neighboring coil, or we can say that in the secondary coil. Here there is no relative motion. Okay. So these all were the experimental observation. So from this experimental observation, he concluded, he arrived, or he suggested a principle that is known as electromagnetic induction. So electromagnetic induction is very simple. Here what it says that whenever the magnetic field lines associated with a coil changes, we can write here, whenever the magnetic field lines associated with a coil changes, whenever the magnetic field lines associated with a coil changes, a current is induced in the coil. Current is induced in the coil. And that phenomenon is known as electromagnetic induction. So what is meant by electromagnetic induction? Electricity is induced because of varying magnetic field. If magnetic field line changes, means magnetic field changes. Okay. So whenever the magnetic field lines associated with a coil changes, a current is induced in the coil. Actually, we have to say it as magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is equal to product of magnetic field into area. But here we are telling as magnetic field lines changes only. Okay. Okay, is it clear? So, whenever the magnetic field lines associated with a coil changes, we can say that a current is induced in it. So, we will discuss each one whether it is true or not. Okay. So, here what it says, we are introducing this magnet into the coil. So, what happens? Whether field lines will change? Initially, less number of field lines will be passing. No. Magnetic field lines are like this. No? So, if you are introducing the magnet into the coil, what happens? Number of field lines will be increased. Initially, less number of field lines are passing because it is far away from the magnet. When the magnet is introduced, the number of field lines passing through the coil increases. So, we can say that magnetic field lines changes, magnetic field lines get increased, because of which a current is produced. And if you are keeping magnet inside the coil, what happens? Same number of field lines are passing. There is no increase or decrease in the field lines. So, there is no variation in number of field lines. There is no variation in magnetic field. There is no variation in magnetic flux, and hence no current will be produced. Again, when it is taken back, what happens? Initially, more number of field lines are passing because it is inside the coil. Now, when it is taken back, the number of field lines passing through the coil get reduced, because of which a current will produce in opposite direction. Okay. Same for this also. Instead of this magnet to move, the coil moves also, same thing happens. If it is moving closer to the magnet, more field lines will be there. If it is moving far away from the magnet, lesser field lines will pass. So whenever it is moving towards or away, there will be variation. This is important. There should be change in magnetic field lines. So there will be change in magnetic field lines or magnetic field or magnetic flux, because of which a current will be produced. Okay. So if both are stationary, same number of field lines are passing. Same magnetic field will be there through that coil, because of which no current will be produced. So current will be produced if and only if magnetic field changes. Okay. And in this case, what happens if this key is already closed? So here this coil is producing a magnetic field. So what happens? Same number of field lines will be passing through this coil, because both are stationary. Once it started to move towards the coil, number of field lines passing through second coil will get increased. Because of the increase in magnetic field lines, a current will be produced. Again, when it is taken back, what happens? If it is taken back, the number of field lines passing will be decreased. Why? Initially it is very much closer. Now if it is withdrawn back, the number of field lines associated with this coil will get reduced, because of which again a current is produced. And the last one here, how current is produced? If you are closing the key, initially what is the field lines? Since the key is open, no current is flowing, so no magnetic field is there, no magnetic field lines are there. And as soon as the key is closed, what happens? A current is passing through this primary coil. When a current is passing, what happens? When a current is passing through the coil, it will produce a magnetic field. So magnetic field lines associated this coil will change, because of which current will be induced. And if the key is closed for longer time, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours also, there is no deflection in the galvanometer. Why there is no deflection? Because there is no change in magnetic field lines. Okay. If there is, this is important, if there is change in magnetic field lines, only current will be produced. If magnetic field lines are passing, no current will be produced. But whenever there is variation in magnetic field lines or magnetic field or magnetic flux, a current will be produced. Is it clear? So based on this, we can say electromagnetic induction. This is very simple. Electricity is induced by varying magnetic field. Okay. Electricity induced how? Because of magnetic. Okay. That is known as electromagnetic induction. And this electromagnetic induction is the basic principle of electric generator, transformer, all those working under the principle of electromagnetic induction. And now we will discuss how to find the direction of induced current. Okay, that given by Fleming's left hand rule. Sorry, Fleming's right hand rule gives the direction of induced current. Okay. Fleming's right hand rule. So don't get confused with left hand rule and right hand rule. Left hand rule helps us to find the direction of force acting on a current carrying conductor, and right hand rule helps to find the direction of induced current. Okay, so we can write the hold the 3 fingers. Forefinger, middle finger, of middle finger and thumb of right hand in mutually perpendicular direction. In mutually perpendicular direction. In such a way that forefinger shows the magnetic field the thumb shows the motion of the conductor thumb shows the motion of the conductor then the central finger shows the direction of induced current. Shows the direction of induced current. So here what it says, we have to take our 3 fingers of right hand. Which are the 3 fingers? Forefinger, thumb and central finger. And how they should be hold? They should be hold in mutually perpendicular direction. Okay. So we have to hold like this. Now this forefinger shows the magnetic field. Yeah. Okay. Thumb shows the motion of the conductor. Then we can say that the central finger shows the direction of induced current. Okay. So here we can say forefinger stands for what? Field, magnetic field. Okay. Thumb shows motion of the conductor. Thumb shows the motion of the conductor. Then central finger shows the induced current. Okay. Central finger shows the current. C stands for current and C stands for central finger. F stands for forefinger and F stands for field and thumb stands for the motion. Okay. Is it clear? So these 3 fingers, forefinger, central finger and thumb in mutually perpendicular direction. Forefinger shows the direction of magnetic field. Thumb shows the direction of motion of the conductor. Then central finger shows the direction of induced current. Now you may think that both this left hand rule and right hand rule is similar. In that case also we studied forefinger stands for field, thumb stands for motion, central finger stands for current. So you may doubt both are same, no? So what makes the difference? Direction, no doubt you can say that, no? Direction will be changing. And here in left hand rule, this motion takes place at last. Why? Because a current carrying conductor is moving in a magnetic field because of which force acts and it moves. Okay, so this takes place at last. And in right hand rule, what happens? In right hand rule, magnetic field is there and this conductor is moving because of which current is induced. So current induction, that production of current takes place at last. And here in left hand rule, what happens? In right hand and left hand rule, this force or motion takes place at last, because a current carrying conductor is moving in a magnetic field, because of which a force is acting and it moves. And in right hand rule, already magnetic field is existing in the region and conductor is moving. Because of which a current is induced. So this happens at last. Okay, is it clear? I hope all of you understood the difference between left hand rule and right hand rule clearly. And the application of electromagnetic induction is in transformers and generator. Okay, I hope all of you understood. And if you are having any doubt, you can ask me, and thank you.